Good evening, everyone. Welcome along. Monday night, 8 p.m. Welcome to the Online Darts Live Lounge 110. Me, Phill, Buzz, Jack Garwood, and Lee Boyce talking all things darts, maybe a bit of football, a bit of cricket. We'll see how the boys, Phill.
Dart show, Philip.
Dart show, Philip.
Oh, did both your teams lose this weekend by any chance?
Hang on a minute. We're going to watch yours lose in real time tonight, mate. Don't give it big of them.
Yeah, at the moment, they haven't, so it's fine.
I hope they both. In fact, I hope both teams lose tonight because you're both crap.
To be fair, I've already said we'll get beat tonight, so it's
gentlemen. It's a dart show. Dart
new manager
show.
bounce.
But not gonna lie, slightly tired today, but we'll get through. Plenty coming up, plenty of talking points. The players have been chirping, shall we say? We've got plenty of talking points from the Premier League and the Euro Tour.
Yeah, travels all around Europe and moaning about being tired, living the life of luxury the days.
Right, I can genuinely understand now why the players don't particularly like going to Riesa. I now fully understand it. The actual venue and the town, it's really nice. It's just a right bitch to get to.
Language! 3 minutes! 3 minutes!
I could have gone worse.
No.
But all good. Chat room, welcome along, one and all. Here we go. Tommy is in. James knows the score.
James, you're going to fall out.
How are we doing? Owen, Bob, Craig is in. Kieran, Alex, Connor, how we all doing? Malachi is in. We'll put his up there. Welcome to the Monday Night Dart Show. How we doing, Preston? Will is in from across the pond. Hope you are good. Evening, Paddy. Hope everyone is good. Look, plenty going on at the moment. It's been a busy time. Premier League, Euro Tour action, backed up again. Euro Tour coming up. The Premier League rolls on. WDF tickets go on sale. Luke Litter bashing up the Dev Tour. A very interesting point coming out.
Phil, have you just summarised our show in 2 hours? Are we done?
Yeah.
Pub? Anyone? Pub?
There was a very interesting. I don't know if I can say it. I mean, I'm waiting for a message to say yes or no. But something very interesting happened at the Dev Tour at the weekend, which I've never heard of before. It was very cryptic from his manager's post as well. The bit is, if you know, you know. But don't know if I'm waiting for confirmation whether I can say it or not. But Gob's now massively thinking. You can see the cogs turning.
No, he's just messaged you. Clear as day. That's what he's done. You can tell.
He hasn't. Yeah, anyway. We have the one and only Mr. Cameron Menzies coming on the show as well, the Mad Hatter himself. So yeah, all good. Shall we start, boys? Let's go. Let's rewind. Let's go to Berlin for the Premier League chat room as well. First of all, what was your first thought of the Berlin Premier League before we go into it?
Same as every other week.
Yeah.
I just thought the standard was good this week. I thought it was better than the week before.
Yeah. I think for the most part, well, no, Van Gogh didn't. I think for the most part, the big guys rocked up, but actually, Michael Smith played. No, Smith played steady. Gezzy's played steady. It's only Van Gogh that's not.
Yeah.
Johnny Clayton. I think Johnny Clayton is the linchpin on which this Premier League rides on. We know how good Van Gogh and Gerwyn Price are at the minute. Michael Smith is just plodding along at a decent level. Aspinall's battling. Dobie's doing the odd thing. I think Clayton is the one that holds this tournament being interesting in his hands.
Yeah, and look, he said it as well. This was almost last chance saloon in Berlin, where if he didn't win, even he thought it was job done. The top four was done, and where now he's right back in it.
And to be honest, he's come through, and we spoke about this when we were sort of previewing Night 9. In Johnny Clayton and Peter Wright were in the most difficult. If one of them was going to win, you'd expect it was going to be Price MVG, then or the other way around to go on and win it. So for Clayton to go on the run he did have, to then have the world champion in the final, it's not just about needing the win, it's who he's come up against to get them wins. And yes, probably all three were under par, I would say, in their performances when they come up against Johnny. But it's then up to Clayton to punish that, because we've seen Johnny under par more than enough in this Premier League, as well as a few others. So all he can do is then step up and punish, and he duly delivered, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So, why isn't that loaded? 2 seconds. Loaded it all in, and then it hasn't gone in. How irritating is that?
Also, can you just move over a bit? Because you've not got the banner up today, which means the fans at home can see the washing machine. We've missed you, baby.
To be fair, there's a reason the banner's not up.
I'm surprised when that banner then is no longer up this week. I still expected a Christmas tree to be there. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was
And to be fair, I just couldn't be asked. I was like, just tired.
There's definitely a tree up somewhere in your house. There always is, all year round.
No, it is down. I
You are
promise.
Bill Nye from Love Actually. Just walk around. I feel it in my fingers.
That would be quite funny, to be fair. But yeah, going back to the Premier League. Was it too? Don't tell me it's too big. Is that why I didn't write? Oh, no, there we are. So there we go. There is the draw bracket for Berlin. First up, Michael Smith against Dimitri van den Berg. And are we a bit worried for Dimitri at the moment? Because the performances have dropped off quite a lot from where they were.
Potentially. I guess all of us that have been clamouring in for him to play that little bit faster and saying it wouldn't affect his performances might be backing off a little bit right now.
Too early to say that, Dob, maybe?
Potentially.
We saw levels of Dimi playing well, even if he wasn't positioned great in the table. It's only recently that drop has come into effect. And are we convinced we'd see a better Dimi if he was playing at snail pace then?
No,
not really. And to be honest, well, there is that conversation to be had. It doesn't even have to be him playing better. It's what effect does that have on his opponents? There's an argument that actually he wasn't in great form entering this tournament.
No.
He sort of rescued his back end of his season last year by changing his barrel with his manufacturer. His success was largely in the early part of last year in the World Series. And actually, when you look at names that were in competition to be in this Premier League, he was one of those that was floating about in either direction.
And I think we still have people now every week moaning about a certain player should be in or a certain player shouldn't be in. The two who were sort of debatable were Dimi and Chris. And the fact that, let's be honest, neither of them have took the Premier League by storm. Chris has only 2 wins of Tom against Michael Smith, apart from his night 1 victory where he's just coming off momentum of winning the Masters. And then Dimi's not really shown that quality. And yeah, he could slow his game down and potentially he'd have a couple more points on the board. Because the manner of performances against him may have not been as good because he would have gone there that route. But actually, he's not really been as impressive. And right now, I'm with you on what you said about Johnny, that Johnny Clayton seems to be the only one who can get into the midst of that top 4. And I don't see Dimi and Chris doing that. because I don't see him winning back-to-back weeks or having 2 back-to-back deep runs where Johnny can do that. I wouldn't be surprised if Dimmy goes and wins a week does any of the 8 and just run off 3 wins. But to do that week on week, I'm unsure that them two, especially Dimmy right now, can achieve that.
Who's still yet to win a week? Is it Dimitri, Aspen, Wright?
Yeah.
And I want to change their answer to all 8 winning a week right now?
I said all 8 anyway, I think.
I said no from the start anyway, so I'm quite happy.
Yeah. I think I said yes, and you had 4. I want to say 5 and 6. I don't know who had what way.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with it.
I'm content with 6. The way Gerwyn Price, Van Gerwen are playing, Clayton playing himself back into form. I think Michael Smith's going to peak at the right time in this campaign. I think he's just gone through the motions in the first few weeks of this tournament. There are big pressures that come with being world champion and world number 1 and commitments around that. And I think he's getting them out of the way, staying within touching distance. And I think he will peak at the right time for this tournament. Yeah, I'm still sticking with where I'm going.
Yeah, look, the NBG was well off the pace, and he said it himself that he couldn't be asked. Which we obviously, he said it on Dutch TV. We've got a clip. We asked for some clarity from his comments, but even Nathan Aspinall said at the weekend that they all think the top 2 are done. They're all shooting for 2 spots.
Which, at that point, there's a freedom that comes with being in those top 2, but also a lack of motivation. If that's what you need, there's a lack of pressure if you need that to get yourself going. And that could have an effect on results moving forward.
Do MVG and Price gain much from winning the league?
No.
They gain much from winning a night financially and just the reward of winning that mini sort of tournament. But if it goes to the final night and one of them needs a semi-final or something, I'm not sure how much that would be a motivation for either player. As where before it was. Was it 25 grand?
Yeah, it used to be 25 grand for topping on the old format, not last year.
Yeah,
the old format, it was 25 grand for topping the table.
And that's taken away for me an aspect of winning that lead in the form in the league standings after 16 nights, which could, I guess, could equally flip it and mean that we get a tighter 3-6, 3-7, because at the moment, if there was fighting out for top spot and there was money on it, you've got a feeling MVG and Price would probably pick up 6 or 7 of the 8 that are left because of the form they're in. So maybe it opens it up a little bit more. I'm just trying to look at a way where we can have 8 winners, to be honest. I'm trying to think of mine being a possibility.
Good luck with that one. But again, Peter Wright's concerning form continues. We're going to play the clip in a minute, and it's interesting the comments that he made about the Premier League ruining players, and he's like, it won't ruin me. But the fact that he brought up the Premier League's ruin players, I thought was an interesting take from Snakebite.
For a player who's only made the knockout stages twice in 10 years, one of which he's beaten in the final, the other lost in the semi-final. Or won the final, sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting...
His record's terrible in this event anyway, so there is that to fall back on, I guess, is that it's never been a happy hunting ground for him.
Yeah.
It can't ruin you if you've never been any good at it, but you've been in there 10 times.
It's more the knock-on effect, I think, isn't it? We've seen what it's done, what a bad Premier League campaign has done to certain players over the years.
We talked about, it's, to be honest, the motivation for Peter Wright right now is very similar to what we're saying about Price and MVG, just a different style of the table. Because Peter Wright, let's be honest, is not going to qualify for playoffs. He's not going to win this Premier League. He's got to win probably about 4 nights. He's got to do something absolutely ridiculous to be in that mix. So right now, the motivation for him on each Thursday is probably the same as what it is for Michael. That if I don't pick up the night, I've done nothing. Yeah,
I've got your tour or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think I don't know if we're going to see any better Peter Wright between now and the end of the Premier League. factors. I'm not sure what motivation's there for him right now.
Yeah. Look, the semi-finals, Michael Smith was sensational in beating Nathan Aspinall, and Johnny Clayton ended the Gerwyn Price run in the Premier League. Didn't hold it for too long. Spoiler alert. But this was the old ferret, and it looks as if he's found that spark that we were talking about. Look, in the final, he rode his luck. Did a Michael Van Gogh and did the right things at the right times to win it. And then was handed the Buddy Berlin Bear.
I've got a feeling that Dob will be picking Nathan Aspinall to beat Johnny Clayton when we do the picks for next week. Because I think this is the first time that Dob's done against Johnny Clayton, and he's now done on and won a week. So I've got a feeling he'll stick with that theory. Because we all backed against him, I think.
I spent like week 3 to week 7 saying Johnny looks good. He's looked like he's going to find some form. His Pro Tour performances and averages have been steady. It looks like he's going to do something special. Last week I was like, nah, it's just not clicking, is it? Let's move on from that. Bang! Let's win a week. Yeah, cheers, Johnny.
Right, let's play the 2 clips from the Premier League. We'll do Peter first.
I suppose so. Obviously, having the time off has backfired. I thought if I have time off, keep fresh for the Premier League, keep fresh for the Europeans, I might be okay. But obviously, it's not working. So I don't know. Maybe I have to go back to the Pro Tour events to just maybe keep me sharp. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Premier League can be daunting as well when you're losing game after game. Do you think about that in the build-up to Thursdays? Because I remember...
Not at all.
No?
No, not at all. Other players would think about it. I presume I'll just turn up each week. It doesn't matter. I know I can beat any of these guys in any tournament if I turn up. So it doesn't put a negative on my game at all. It's just... It's the Premier League. It's not quite working, but as I say, next week a turn, and then start winning and a qualifying. Everyone will go, where did he come from? Yeah, I'm losing every week, but it's one of them things. Somebody's got to lose, but it's the way you deal with it. If you deal with it fine, don't let it affect you. It's ruined many dart players' careers, the Premier League, and it's not going to ruin mine because I know how to win, and I know how to win big majors and stuff like that, so I will turn it around.
We convinced he means it?
Not really, but I'm not sure what the difference is. It's a little bit too much to do right now within this tournament. Look, winning the Premier League means something to some players. I hazard a guess to say that actually to some it doesn't. You look at the fact that Rob Cross was adamant he wasn't playing in it this year. Saying the right things, keeping the right people happy, but no. But for a wider point, this won't derail his season or his ability or the titles he's won before or his legacy or anything like that. This poor campaign we won't suddenly remember Peter Wright as a terrible dart player.
His legacy, I agree with, but I'm not sure I agree with his season. Because right now, he cannot get anything to work.
You'd rather be doing that here, 16 weeks, absolute free roll while getting paid a fair whack in this Premier League, by the way, and exposure and TV and all that lot, right? It's travel. Peter Wright's not getting any younger, etc. But you'd rather be doing that than traipsing around leisure centres for 250 quid losing first round while you're searching for stuff, which is effectively what you'd be doing if you weren't a Premier League player of Peter Wright's calibre.
Yeah, that I agree with, but I just think that I know we make a lot about the darts and X, Y, and Z, and beforehand he could always go back to the elements, whether it was the gold or the standard one, and that would set him right. That would recalibrate him. He'd go back to him. He'd stick a couple of ton plus averages in. He'd pick a Pro Tour title up. He'd win a Euro Tour. He'd do something. But I just think that the head, the throw, and the action is all that much out of sync at the moment. I'm not sure how he gets that back.
I think he's in the perfect environment to get it back. The flip of that is you can't finish this Premier League on 2 or probably even 4 points. That is demoralising massively. Peter Wright's now got a season ready for June, July time, really teeing up to the match playing the season, then starting of them for him. But what he can't do is go into that with not getting to a final at least 1 week, or not doing what Aspinall was doing before last week in winning 3 or 4 quarterfinals and going sort of back to back, getting to a semi-final. If he's not there, then I am seriously worried about the season. But then the 3 notes, I think anyone can have a bad. That doesn't worry me as much as of what he's done. But season-wise, I think if he ends the Premier League on where he is now on the points, then I think it could have a huge knock on his confidence, because people are just seeing him as beatable, and the top players are not seen as that very often.
Write him off as an underdog, and Peter Wright will absolutely have you. I don't see a bad outcome. Any other player, I would be severely concerned right now. But Peter Wright has this mentality, and look, yeah, he is chopping and changing. We're starting to see him go back to a slightly straighter barrel again. I think he'll start building on that. He's had the few weeks now of silly season, if you like, chopping and changing. He'll work back on it.
I already know what he's throwing on Thursday. He told us as he was leaving on Sunday.
And how many times have you gone, oh, yeah, I'm definitely throwing these next week, and rocked up with something completely different?
Yeah. Once he wanted, he actually went to the merchandise stand to see if they had them on sale there.
Also. But once he gets this out of his system, he will still turn up in Blackpool a week before the event and go, I'm favourite to win this. No other player in the world would do that, genuinely believe it, and have a chance of backing it up.
But do you think that's possible if, and we are down on ifs and buts here, but there's 7 Premier League nights left for Peter Wright, assuming he's not in the playoffs. I think we all agree he's not going to be there. If he goes on and not picks up another winning, or even if it's just one, and doesn't do anything much elsewhere in that time, do you honestly think that Peter Wright can still turn up and go and win the match play? Because I don't.
No, I don't either.
No, but he will. And at the same time, he's currently getting paid 60 grand for 16 weeks' work to basically turn up and practice on stage in front of thousands of people and dance around a bit at the start.
No, James, it's an old set. Right, we'll play the Johnny clip with the Berlin Buddy.
Yeah, great feeling. Like you said, difference in 2 weeks, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But then again, if I want to make that final 4, I've got to put everything I got into it. Tonight's a good start. 3 points on the board. Up to 5th, I think. You know, there's a long way to go, but it's the start I wanted. You know, to win here tonight, absolutely fantastic, and I got a smile on my face, so look out.
Did you feel coming in tonight it was almost last chance saloon, the way the points were racking up and the way the top 4 were kind of getting away?
Yeah, 100%, I think so. You know, I think the top 2 are safe, to be honest. I think Mike and Gezi is safe. Everybody else are chasing the next 2 spots, you know. So, listen, it's up to us to do the job. I've started good for the second half, and hopefully I can carry on.
I love the fact.
The absolute fuck is that?
Language.
No, it's half past now.
Wait until you see the Birmingham Bull on Thursday. Whoever lifts that up. I really hope.
On his live on his Sky interview, he said he looked like Mark Webster.
I love that. I know Webster's response, but I definitely can't say that one.
Yeah,
it's really so-and-so, I think, will be the reply from Mr. Webster. You just pictured it in his accent as well, haven't you?
100%. I spent all weekend with Webster. I can just pictured it now. It's the way he does it well. He'll crouch over and go, "You."
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think it's just something the Mercedes-Benz Arena do. I don't think we'll have trophies elsewhere. However, an interesting one as well.
Please, I want to see some of the creations. And let's be honest, Phil, it would add to the photo that they have next to the city. At least they'd be holding something to show what they've won.
What are you going to hand out in Amsterdam? Just a massive blunt?
As long as the sign.
We saw, look, Peter Wright's done it consistently. He went for full Germany colours, but the Gerwyn Price shirt went down well again, didn't it?
This made me laugh, actually, because Peter Wright went similar with his shirt. There was definitely a German colour scheme going on, and it was like two nerds competing for the love of the best-looking girl at school. It was brilliant. Please love me more.
Gezzy's got some exhibitions coming up in Scotland. I think he's doing a 4-night exhibition tour. And I've seen the shirt he's had made for them. I don't know if we'll see them on social. I hope we do. If not, I hope he does the same for Aberdeen. He has literally fully embraced this to the point he's already thinking about what he's going to do for New York, Poland.
I like it.
He's a change man.
When it's perfect. It's what we've been calling for as well. It's embracing it and taking steps to get fans back on your side. You might not necessarily agree or disagree with how or why they ended up not on your side, but it just feels like it's always been this constant battle, and it is such a small little step that, one, increases your marketability as one of the best players in the world already. Like, those shirts you can sell for charity, you could auction off, you could do whatever, you could bring out a range, like, genius. And two, even Van Gerwen in his post-match Eurotour comment is going, have you paid all of these like 50p each or something to like you? Where has this come from? The other players are now aware of it. Honestly, there are two people in the world that can beat Gerwyn Price, himself and the crowd, and he's just taken one of them out of the equation.
Since Cardiff, it has been the biggest swing I have ever seen in my life. Cardiff, we expected it. We knew it was going to happen there. But since then, he has been cheered in every venue to the point now where they're even singing Gerwyn Price, Gerwyn Price. When he's throwing.
Do you think he would go as far as changing his Wharton? I know he's tried it before, but that was a complete change. But do you think he'd try and change it per venue?
I don't think so.
or do you think the player will at some point?
Yeah, Johnny, yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think they will, but they are, honestly, they will go for a fortune because they are lovely. He's literally, the effort that's gone into it is unreal. I got to spend a lot of time with Gezi over the last few days traveling, because I travelled with him, and the designs he was showing me, whatever, and how they go into it, it is just genius from him.
If you're watching, our deepest condolences for having to travel with Phill. I definitely just said Johnny as well. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what you're doing there, but Johnny managed to get the last flight out last night at like 10 to 12. He did have his drawbacks because it was to the wrong airport, so he had to get from Stansted to Heathrow. Yeah. But that was the Premier League. We'll go on to the Euro Tour, but Cammy might jump in, so we might break off halfway through the Euro Tour. I haven't got anything teed up in terms of... Actually, before we go, we've got one slide for the Premier League before we go, and it is the table. What are we saying? If you're calling it right now, chat room as well, come and get involved. Call it now. What's the top four? Or sorry, who finishes 3 and 4? Because I think we're all saying that the top 2 are done.
I think it's between the 3 of them. I can't see Derby and Dimmy having the consistency to get into that. We know that anyone can win a night, but I just don't think they've got that consistency to be in the midst on the end. I think Johnny edges it with Bully Boy.
That's exactly where I'm going. Because 3 of Clayton's last 4 before the week 16, so week 12, 14 and 15, his first round matches are Chris Dobie, Peter Wright, and Dimitri Vandenberg.
Yeah, I agree. I think
he also plays Gezi in that time span. But when you look at that same time period, unless Nathan Ashton has a big lead on Johnny at that point, plays Van Gerwen, then Dimitri, then Michael Smith, then Gezi. So he's chasing points at that point, whilst Clayton is arguably playing the 3 players at the moment you'd love to play. Or you'd prefer to play in round 1, the 3 that are below him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that win has completely changed the dynamic of the top 4.
Yeah,
I think if Johnny doesn't win in Berlin, this is a whole different conversation. And I think Aspinall and Smith see it out.
Yeah.
But from there, we go to the European Tour in Riesa, which beforehand was Gerwyn Price's hunting den. Even more so now, boys.
Weird how he does this. He just claims venues.
Aldersey Leisure Village and Riesa.
Yeah. How? Why? How does it work like that?
Yeah. Of all the ones that you hoover up.
I can't say that. A, it's not late enough, and B, I just offend too many people.
It's not that one. I meant 3. But before we go, obviously, we talk about the usual suspects. There's some interesting players that I think the Euro Tour is throwing up at the moment, and 2 in particular. One, I got to see Pascal Reprec in the flesh and got to see him. By Christ, you wouldn't want to get lumped by him. Oh my God, it was an absolute unit that boy is. Really nice lad as well.
Potential future police officer. Yes, officer. It was not me, officer.
Phil, I liked how you said that and then followed up with really nice lad, like you had to say.
Because I asked the PDC Europe boys, I said, look, can we speak to him win or lose? Because he was one of the big stories that came out of Q School. The way no one had even heard of him. He went there and putting in massive averages. And he was more than happy to come and speak to us, even though he lost. And considering he is his English was more than acceptable, miles better than my German. And the way he spoke was really, really good and just a really nice talent. And the other one is Nico Springer. He did it last time out. And you see him, he keeps himself to himself in the practice room, puts his earpods on, and just away he goes. It was those 2 in particular really caught the eye, I think.
Springer's doing a weird sort of darting apprenticeship at the minute, isn't he? Because he didn't get his tour card, but he's going to pick up enough of these Euro tours, given that they're in Germany, a European tour that is 95% in one country is interestingly named. But tonight isn't. I think he's solid. I think he's very, very good. He's out of the limelight a little bit. You've got the likes of Schindler and Hop. Well, not Hop. Clemens. Hempel, etc., carrying the burden. He's rocking up to Euro Tours. He's putting in big performances in front of home crowds. They're going to carry him a little bit, but he's solid.
Oh, 100%. And so the action's good, and there's just a lot to like about him. And it was interesting. We were chatting to the PDC Europe guys, and we were saying, have you seen a bounce since the World Championships? And they're like, absolutely. It's like literally tickets are flying out the door, merch is flying out the door. We get more and more inquiries. Interview dropping. There is going to be a new venue on the European Tour next year. I did an interview with Werner, head of PDC Europe. It's going to drop in the week. He gives us we are going to a new country next year. He confirms, which will be good. But yeah, what's that?
You haven't told us anything.
But they said they've seen a real bounce since the World Championships, which isn't surprising. On the Saturday, they had 4,000 in both sessions on the Saturday. in Riesa. That's a little bit good.
Yeah.
Which it's what you want to see from these stories, and not it just being a story, one-off. You hear there's a bounce, you hear there's a news story there, and 2 or 3 days, and it sort of then filters down. At least it seems to be carrying on, and it's had that impact, and it isn't just a 24 hours, 48 hours spite. It's an ongoing thing, and that's what the Euro Tour should be for.
Yeah. Also, Matt Campbell, again, another one that didn't get his case in time, had to go shopping on Friday morning to get trousers and a black polo shirt, and played with Alfie, his manager, set of darts, which were original MVG McKick darts, which was quite funny. Like, literally nothing like he plays with, but actually he played really, really well with them.
Yeah, he played steady.
But again, Matt Campbell's developing, and we're starting to see him settle into life as a tour player. We know he's got that ceiling from the World Cup. We're seeing that more consistently at the moment.
It's built from the Pro Tour as well. He's going deeper and deeper on the Pro Tour, being that little bit more competitive, just adding that edge to his game right now. Action-wise, he's right up there. He's just got to believe a bit. That ceiling that we saw from him in the World Cup a few years ago was superb until he got under pressure.
Yeah.
And he crumbled against the Belgians. The Canadians should have beat the Belgians a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Also, interesting this week, or this time around in Event 3, we saw the reserve list come into massive play. It was also interesting being in the venue. The fact that the reserve list is there, I think, for the better, and we heard, they shouldn't be here, they've lost. It's like, oh, please, stop now. That I'd rather have reserve lists than buys.
100%.
100%. All the fans at home watching or in the venue would rather have reserve lists and players in than buys. To be honest, I think most of the players would as well. Like, there's some extent they go, I've got to buy, I'm not playing to whatever. But actually, sometimes they're the game that get you into the tournament. The players that are withdrawing are the ones that they're your winnable game. Then you run into a seed. You don't want to go straight into a seeded player who's already had a game to acclimatise and get used to it, because as similar as they are in design, every single Euro Tour stage is different. Every single arena is different, an atmosphere. And if you've got another seeded player who's already been up there, settled, likely to be a seed, by the way, not necessarily a seed, you get up the stats and whatever, but you are running into that round.
And what we had last year, was it one afternoon where we only had 6 games, on the night we had 7, and it's just from a entertainment fan perspective in the venue, you're missing out on some potential great games, and that's what Euro Tour Friday throws up. Normally, it's the games you're not expecting to be as good, produce moments of magic, and you're losing out on 2 or 3 games. So for me, there should be a reserve list on anything. There shouldn't be boys whatsoever. The only time I sort of accept there being a boys in a Pro Tour, if there is a very late dropout. And I mean, like, literally within the hour of registration. Other than that, there shouldn't be anything, especially on TV tournaments. Should always be reserves ready.
Yeah, interesting from Patrick here, and I like it. It was on the list to bring up. He says, what do you think about the choice of Bilowetsky? Was qualified for ET3, then decided to play the Dev Tour. Why play the qualifier then? I personally like his choice that he picked the Dev Tour over the Euro Tour. But I kind of agree that if that was always going to be his choice, why did he go to the qualifier? But I think it was a smarter choice to pick the route Sebastian did.
I do. I think he is. I believe he's going to start favourite for the World Series Poland qualifier. That will come with its own pressure. We're seeing him develop and play some decent darts. Yeah, just strange to have played in both, unless I wasn't aware of the clash at the time. Look, a lot of players will just be entered into things by management companies or whatever.
Yeah.
If he's in both, he's got a choice.
Yeah. But personally, I think he made the right choice. We'll...
Especially weekend 1 of the Dev Tour. If this is weekend 3 or 4 and you're a little bit far back or whatever, go chasing everything else. But to put yourself, well, if he hadn't played, he'd be $7,000 behind Luke Littler right now. Ridiculous.
Yeah. We'll come on to the Dev Tour later on. But yeah, no, look, I get it. But look, the buy system worked, which is what it was meant to do. What else did we have from the early rounds in the Euro Tour? Yeah. We talked about concerns. Joe Cullen, the hangover is a massive concern right now for me.
Not looking good. Not looking at his best at all. Part of that might be down to his hair transplant and it affecting him differently, etc. But it is not the same Joe Cullen that we've seen for the last 18 months or more since he won that Masters. And I guess part of this we could say we could have seen come in, whilst none of us called it. The fact that Joe was the best player on tour last year at winning games when he had the lower average tells you that actually perhaps he's getting away with it occasionally. Within those, you build up a bit of momentum, you build up that bit of charge, that bit of belief, and then there is that. You think Van Gerwen's last leg decider record on the Euro Tour for what felt like forever was just there, and players were fearful of it.
Yeah,
and Cullen had that edge about him, and then demoralising to not be in the Premier League, and the hangover of a poor back end of last year as well, while still grinding out results. But once they start disappearing from you, it can be difficult to find again.
The surprise is more probably around the fact that the majority of the players who have just missed out on the Premier League, whether it be this year or previous years, you tend to see a quick response. And I thought we saw that from the likes of Rob Frost last year. I think that's probably where people are expecting every player to sort of do the same thing. When you've missed out, respond back that way. And we haven't seen that from Joe. And there is a concern, but I don't think it's as big as there is with some of the other players.
Yeah, well, he's down to 16th now in the Pro Tour Order of Merit. This time last year he was 4th. He's $10,000 away from having to go back to the qualifiers.
Which won't last very long on the Euro Tour.
Well, no. But that was that one. Any others jump out at you from the first 2 rounds before we look at the later stages? Oh. We will do that in a minute. However, we are joined by the one and only Mr. Cameron Menzies.
How we doing?
How we doing, buddy?
All right. Not bad. Yourself, guys?
Yeah, that's a first. We've got a fully fledged Scotsman in an all black shirt.
Well, that's all that fits me these days.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
How's life treating you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. I'm up in Scotland at the moment, seeing the cold weather again. So a few days off work to go and rest, which has been good because it's been hectic recently with the darts and stuff. So today and tomorrow off, and then back to work for 2 days before Munich next week. So it's quite good to chill.
Where is the game right now?
Up and down. There's spells of goodness, spells of badness, but I've just got a new set of darts, so we'll see what happens this weekend.
Are they similar to the Dobie darts you were throwing?
Well, it's my own brand, so yeah, they're quite. I'll say that the grip's similar, but the shape's different. And I've only had them for 2 weeks. Don't seem too bad, but practice is different from my game, so we'll see at the weekend.
Yeah, look. How much confidence did you take from the back end of last year when you played some brilliant stuff? Like you had MVG hopping around at Minehead, you then went to the Worlds and played some good stuff, and producing it on these big stages must give you confidence.
Yeah, I think the back end of last year, I was starting to feel confident in my game. Like my scoring in spells was getting better, and I believed in spells that I could score as good as the most amount of trouble for maybe 2-3 legs. And I've seen some of my averages been quite high this year, so I'm hoping to get more consistent with that. But the results have not been great this year, but I do think maybe out of 2 or 3 performances, I've played at a decent standard.
Yeah, look, the way it goes, we have to ask you, that World Championship draw, when you were watching it on Sky Sports, obviously, they're with fun. How much were you both praying that didn't happen?
Well, it got to the nitty-gritty, and I think there was just like there wasn't many players left, and she was in the kitchen, and I was in the living room that you just not to pay attention just in case. But I don't think we're too far off pulling each other, which would have been a nightmare draw. I think she enjoyed it more than me.
I mean, I refed you two at County a few months ago against Derbyshire, and she went up with a 27, 28, I think. And the relief you had when you banged in a 29 the same day to say you just beat her. What's it like having somebody as talented as Fallon to practice with and have that bounce off around the house?
Yeah, it's good. There's obviously I'm on it if I'm not practicing, and she does the same for me, because there is times we practice a lot, but I'm competitive with her in the house. Like, she might be playing for fun, and we do like finishes and stuff, and I'm always trying to beat her. It's good for me because it gives you that incentive kind of thing. Because I'd rather practice an hour Fallon, putting the effort in, than throwing for 2 hours at board with no interest. So it gives me the oomph kind of thing, because I always want to beat her. It's just for the bragging rights in the house.
Cammy, obviously. Fallon 8 and 9, well publicised a few weeks ago. You know I was going to talk about it. How much is that now on your mind because of that competitive household that you feel like I've got to follow up with one at some point soon?
Honestly, see how many people say to me, by the way, is when you're going to hit a 9 dart, and I've had 3 already. But the funniest thing about that is I watched a game and I looked at my phone for 5 minutes, and that's when she hit the 9 dart. So I missed it. I just seen everybody cheering. And then I just joined in. So I missed it. I missed the 9 dart. I looking down, and it was that quick a leg. I missed it.
You've got a history of missing things on the PDC.
Well, you see me at work, I'm worse at work.
I don't employ you.
We're now a year on from Lateside. Obviously, the past 12 months, you've performed at Lateside, performed at Ali Pally. How much of those experiences now helped you to throw up the rankings and make sure you're in that top 64 for the end of your 2 years?
Yeah, the good thing I'll say about Ali Pally was obviously an experience, because it's something we've always looked at. Like, Lakeside used to be my favourite thing when I was younger, but nowadays it's all changed. So PDC is the place to be. But the good thing before Ali Pally was the European tours are pretty similar atmospheres if you're playing a Saturday night. So it wasn't so bad. Plus, I went into the hall earlier when it was empty. It feels weird when you see the big hall like that empty. But yeah, I'm hoping to build on that. I keep saying every year get to Ali Pally, and I think you'll do pretty much fine. But it's easier said than done. How many times you see guys have 1 year poor, second year good, because it's just the level we're playing at. Some guys have good years and bad years, or just maybe a bit more luck involved with some of their draws or some of the darts kind of thing. So I'm hoping to get to the Worlds again this year, and that's the aim. Hopefully then that will keep me in the top 64.
Cammy, beforehand, so much was made of your game and the way you used to go to Q School, and so many people labelled you the best player never to have a tour card out of the current generation. How much of that used to play on your mind going to Q School before you won your card?
Yeah, I just never seemed to play well at Q School. Even when I got my tour card, I don't think I played well. I just said I finally got a good run, and I always believed that I could do it. I don't know if I was putting too much pressure on myself to try and get a tour card, but I do think now I'm a better player now than I was maybe a couple of years ago, maybe a bit more experience. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Q School wasn't my greatest point. Never, for some reason, on the Challenge Tour, apart from 1 year, I've always done pretty good. So yeah, Q School I've never done well till 2 years ago, or a year ago, and it was only because of one good day.
Yeah, I was going to say that first day set you up, but it got a little bit nervy, didn't it?
At the end, though, I think it would have been enough. But honestly, see, with the second day, when I forget who beat me, but somebody hammered me. I think it was the boys from New Zealand. Poor, absolutely destroyed me. And I was like, all right, I've still got another 2 days to go. Won a game, then lost again, so I got no points again. I was like, here we go. So the next day, I think I'm sure it was Jacob Taylor I beat, and he'd been playing well a week, and he just had a bad day. And because I got a bye, beat him, that point was the difference. But yeah, it was getting more pressure and more nerves near the end of the 4 days kind of thing. So glad I done it on the first day, because that would have been not so good at all.
obviously, you talk about the bragging rights in the household. Who is the better player?
He sat next to me. I just got evils there.
I know he's just out of shot, so be careful what you say.
I'm the best player in the house when she's not in the house.
Sorry, man, I couldn't resist.
But honestly, I would say it's swings and roundabouts. There's times when we play and you battles when there's times I play, I beat her. There's times I can't get near her. When you've seen it in a game when she starts scoring, it's just like, Jesus, stop it. And she does that in the house. I could play one game, beat her 5-0, and then she'll beat me 5-0, and our averages went up like 20, 30 points. So it's definitely brought my game on.
He knows where his bread's buttered, don't he? That's the most political answer that Cameron Menzies has ever gave in his life.
See if she was in the house, by the way, and I've told you the truth.
Yeah, right now, Cammy's being absolute glared at.
I know. I can just feel it in the side of my head, they're burning.
Is there an element of the game where you've done a bit of growing up in the last couple of years? Because when we first saw you at like things like the Grand Slam and you're jumping around on stage that little bit more, and there just seems to be that you're still going to do daft things. I think that's you all over. But there is no doing that.
I've always done that. When I played football, they used to call me the Mad Monk because I used to do stupid things. And it's adrenaline as well. But yeah, the whole thing with the Grand Slam is it happened so quick because that was my first year doing the WDF because I played football till about 24, 25. Then I started playing darts a bit more, and that was my first year, and it just happened so quick. And I just took the Grand Slam in as like an experience, and I never experienced anything like it. So it was a bit surreal. So I do think. I'm not as bad. I still have moments, obviously, but I'm not as bad, kind of thing. So even like counties and stuff these days, I don't really celebrate much. But I remember when I was younger, I used to go mental at counties. So hopefully in the future, I'm like Steve Beaton.
What was the move down south like for you? Obviously, because you upped everything and moved down to MK, and what was that adjustment like?
It wasn't bad. It was because really I was working in a job that wasn't paying great, and obviously being a plumber, I was trying to get a job, and COVID was obviously an awkward time. I was working in factories and making cakes. That's why the weight went up. But I used to make cakes, and I made car parts, and just a tough time. And obviously we were talking about why not try and get a job down in Milton Keynes, and I got a job down. I went for an interview and got a job an hour after it because we're desperate for plumbers, and I've been there for a year. So it wasn't bad, apart from obviously like the family. That's the only issue because I've been up. That's my second time been up this year because I've been really busy, and that's the bad part because it's 6 hours drive kind of thing. And I don't finish at 5 on a Friday, so that's the only issue I've got with it. But I did say it wasn't for the full. For as long as this, I said it'd be 6 months and I'd be back up, but that's over a year now, so she's got the anchors in.
Couple from the chat room for you, Cammy, as well, because they've been waiting patiently. He said, do you feel the pressure to pick up the Scottish baton from Gary and Peter? And how much would you love to play in the World Cup one day for Scotland?
Oh well, I was hoping Peter Wright and Gary were just not interested this year, so me and Suits can get it. But I still think there's life in him. Yeah, I think I've got another 5-6 years before that I've got that burden. Peter's maybe struggling at the moment, but he'll come back to form, and Gary seems to be putting the effort in again. So I think we've got another couple of years with those two yet. But I'd hope to one day to be half as good as what they are. I'll be quite happy with that, but I need to climb the rankings a lot quicker because watching that development at the weekend, there's guys chapping in the bit to take our places.
The other one, can you claim any part of this? Because this was the best tweet of April the 1st. Whose idea was
me?
I'll say it was mostly her. I just helped with the wording because we're actually driving up. We left early doors and we drove up the road, and she did speak about it before because obviously she does get a lot of beef on social media and stuff, and she thought I'll give a little bit back, and it was a good tweet kind of thing. I read some of the posts and it was good kind of thing. So but we were laughing away up the road, and I said to make sure you do it before 12, but. Yeah, so she wants to take all the.
One word.
I changed a bit of the wording, that was about it, but that's her idea.
Obviously, you touched on it there as well, and look, we've seen the stick that Fallon gets. How much does it bother you when she does get trolled on line because there's nothing you can do about it?
No, I'm not as bad now, kind of thing. But yeah, at the first time in that, because when you get your tour card, the PDC give you like a meeting thing, and obviously they spoke to my manager and stuff and told me to watch what I'm doing because obviously the trolls and stuff. Because obviously if I get involved, then they Photoshop it and send it in, and I'm the bad one. So yeah, I've not really commented much in time. So yeah, but there's a few times I've had to bite the bullet because it's the same as anybody. If somebody talks to your other half in the way that they do, you would want to say something. But yeah, it's more annoying because when people don't understand it, especially recently with that, we should put in the Players' Championship when the PDC put the rule up and they still found a reason to forgot it. And I'm like, it's just annoying kind of thing. That's why she stays off it a lot of times. She just goes on for a wee nosy and then goes off it because it's not worth the hassle.
Yeah, a couple more. People are asking about the game you played against Gary on the Pro Tour stream. Obviously, you got first-hand Gary back to his very best. What was it like having the best seat in the house and you playing your part in a fantastic game as well?
Well, apart from the result. I've done that a few times this year, and I've started like a train, like averaging high hundreds in the first maybe 3-4 legs, and I kind of fall away. But it's a part of the game I never used to have, like those maybe 3-4 legs. It's at a high level, but I think he should have beat me earlier. But it was just every time I looked at him, his darts were going above the table or in it, like perfect for him, and it was just relentless. I'm putting in 96s just to try and keep myself in the leg, and yeah, a few folk will tell me like this. The average has dropped off near the end, but the standard was really good. So, but since then Gary's been superb this year, so I think he'll climb the rankings again.
Cammy, absolute pleasure to have you on. We'll let you get back to your Chinese and a guest voice appearance from Fallon in there as well. Thank you very much as always, buddy. We'll let you get back to your food.
No, I better do a runner because she's gunning for me now.
Because you might get the fork. Cammy, absolute pleasure, buddy, and all the very best this week, mate.
No worries. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Everyone, the one, the only Mr. Cameron Menzies.
God, his phone or his iPad moved as much as he did on stage.
What do you reckon right now? But how far has that fork got into his leg? Great to have him on. As Andrew says, what a great lad. Yeah, look, never a dull moment when Cammy's in. Great to have him on board for the Live Lounge today. Right, back to the Euro Tour. It's linked to the Euro Tour here, and I know form comes and goes, but right now, Dirk van Duijvenbode is in the form of his life. Another quarterfinal, just playing some great stuff, and the Dutch World Cup team is arguably going to be weaker at the moment.
It is on form, 100%.
Yeah.
Dirk is absolutely flying. He is one of, if not the heaviest scorer in the world right now. His 180 hitting is ridiculously good. There's that little bit more belief about him, and he's having less poor legs because he's always had this top level in him, but he produces it for a couple of legs and he goes to sleep for a couple of legs, and that's where it merges in the middle. He's doing less and less of that at the minute as well. He's just bounding around stage as if he owns the gaff, and it's brilliant to see. He was one of those players that perhaps was an outside shot for the Premier League last year, but if he keeps this form up for another couple of months, picks up a TV title, staggering the way he's playing that he hasn't really picked one up previously. If he picks up a major this year, 100% he's in. Oh,
completely. He's box office. And just the way he plays is unreal, and he was absolutely superb.
And probably also benefiting from not being in the Premier League. I think at the moment it's someone who's reacted well to not being a pit.
He was never in contention, he says.
No, but even in the list, he was slightly further out the list than a few of the others. Danny Knopper or Luke Humphrey can feel hard done by.
Yeah.
Dirk van Duijvenbode was always an outside pick if they did something creative with
before
the number of players involved this year or the format.
Before a dart was thrown at the Masters, he was definitely above Twistobi, who's now in there.
Yeah.
It was a possibility.
But was he above Knopper, or Humphreys or Clayton or a Chizzy.
Do I think he'd have been picked above Noppy? I think so.
UK Open, I think he was more. He had more of a chance of Noppy getting picked.
And Chizzy?
Yeah. But it's just the story continues, and it's just sensational how he's turned his game around as well. Because there was at times he couldn't win a game on the Pro Tour, just couldn't win. And
Dirk is one of those players where everything is up there, 100%. He will beat himself up. We've seen him lose games that he shouldn't do on TV enough times, etc. But yeah, Dirk is. When you have that debate on is the game physical or mental, Dirk is a player where it is so mental.
Yeah, completely. It was Master versus the Apprentice. Rob Cross beating Josh Rocklet. They practiced together all weekend, and I think Josh showed him a little bit too much respect in that game, I think.
Yeah, I thought Rob done a very good job, because it's difficult for both, when especially then practice partner. But I think the experience was enough in this one. But very solid performance by Rob Cross.
Yeah. Again, another Martin Schindler. What a weekend he had.
You want about his stage performance on Thursday or his weekend on the dartboard? So I thought he came across quite well on the stage. But...
And I tell you what, as well, what a sense of humour that young man has got. And he's picked up the British accent. Unreal. So our little table where we were working was just next to the corridor where they went to the loo. And he'd walk past, and in his very best English accent, he's got Yorkshire, he's got posh English, and call us a few obscenities in a nice way, laughing his head off.
Did you just say posh Yorkshire?
No, Yorkshire and posh English. He can do the he do like the Queen's English and things like that, and then
Yorkshire and posh are not in the same sentence.
Stop upsetting people.
No.
Stop upsetting people.
Well, it's true though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's 100% true, but stop upsetting people.
Where's Tug when you need him? Get him chomping at the bit.
Yeah, honestly, wicked sense of humour, and again, he's one that we tar people with this brush, but the PDC would love him to win a major, because although Clements got to the semi-final, Clements' English isn't great, where Martin Schindler speaks great English, great German, multilingual, and things like that.
Got a few years as well. A few more years. He's been through the entire... He is a product of PDC darts. Schindler played development tour.
Yeah.
He's had a year out. He's gone back and won his card through Q School and all of that.
Oh, 100%. So, yeah. Right. Quarterfinals. Michael Van Gerwen beats Peter Wright 6-0. Less said about that one, the better. Wasn't a great game. We saw a couple of changes from Wright in his darts in that one, but it is what it is. Then Martin Schindler beat Johnny Clayton. Fantastic performance in that one. Damon Hester losing 6-4 to Dirk van Dijvenbode. And Gerwyn Price beating Rob Cross 6-4. Then the Price was just an overdrive at this point, wasn't he? You look at his averages. He's beaten Ross Smith with 104. Mike De Decker 106.5. His lowest 96.5 to beat Cross. 106 to beat Van Dijvenbode, and then in the final 105 to beat MVG. This is the Price that we saw in the build-up to that World Championship, where you just knew it was almost written that Gerwyn Price was going to win the World Championship this year, and that was the form he was showing heading into it.
It was. The issue is this is the first week of April, not September, October, etc. But look, ridiculous. I think this is the third European Tour event. He's won 2 of them. He's dropped below the 100 average twice on the Euro Tour all season.
Yeah.
And the one game he lost, he averaged 100 and something ridiculous.
Oh, absolute. And that was the Chizzy, wasn't it? Then he averaged 109 and lost to Chizzy.
Yeah.
And he's gone from outside the top 16 on the Pro Tour Order of Merit to 5th in 2 weeks. It's amazing what 60 grand can do, isn't it?
Plus, he's got a couple of weeks off on the Euro Tour now. Because there is that block where he hadn't qualified. He hasn't chased the qualifiers for it. He's just gone, right, I'm just going to get back there via that and actually take those couple of weeks off. He can go and attack the Premier League for a couple of weeks now, or the Pro Tour. Keep his ranking nice and consistent for everything else. Balance the rest of his life while everyone else is doing 4-day weekends on the Euro Tour across bank holiday or whatever else. And be quite content with it. He's actually self-managed by having that imminent dip and then that imminent drop in the rankings, but actually performing this well at the minute. He self-managed his calendar without even needing to.
Well,
but has it come at a bad time in regards to the form he's in, and equally in playing in Premier League weeks where there isn't the pressure that we was on about earlier? Is it potentially come at the wrong time? And obviously it wasn't planned, as you've mentioned.
Possibly,
not
but
when the crowd's reacting the way he is. I don't think, because actually he's loving the Premier League. And like we said earlier about Peter Wright's record, he had 1 semi-final and 1 runner-up in 10 attempts. Gerwyn Price's record in the Premier League is equally as poor. His lack of making the Final Four is right up there. Van Gerwen's sort of switched off at the minute in the Premier League. He knows he's going to be there. He can turn it on at any point. And everyone's saying the top 2 are done. Gezi can go and absolutely open up a massive lead at the top and be what? One of the first 5. It'd be the 5th player ever to win the league phase. Now, while there is no financial bonus, you can hold that over everybody else for the rest of the season. You can't take that bit away from you. If anything, that league phase in this format is more difficult to win than any other league phase before. It probably means more than winning the playoffs because they're a one-off night.
I think he's going to play in Munich this week, play in Brighton, and then miss Wigan, bugger off somewhere hot for 4 or 5 days, and then come back, do his little tour of Scotland. So he's still going to be playing, even though it's not the Euro Tour. He's still going to be ticking over. But look, he's just in a league of his own right now. He's just sensational.
Like I said, there's 12 months and it's a long season for the top 4 or 5 in the world. More than anyone else because of the amount of games. So in hindsight, it might end up being good that he's got these weekends off. It just happens to be at the time where, at the moment, nothing he does turns bad at all. Even losing on Thursday night to Johnny, not being great. Straight back at it the weekend and was just throwing some ridiculous numbers. And it's probably the final. I know it's a game we see quite often in the Premier League. But how they performed and how they performed at the moment in a Euro Tour final, it's probably what people wanted to see. Price and MVG going at it over a slightly longer format.
Yeah, we'll play the winners clip from Price at the Euro Tour, and this is worrying for everyone else.
I'm sure all the players think that when they're on their game. So, I think once this weekend I average under a ton. And I know how well I can play, but even though I played well this weekend and won the tournament, I know there's a lot more in the tank to come out. And over the next 2 years, I think, I'll be a little bit more consistent and I'll get a lot better, which is quite scary for me, I think, because I've only been in this game a short period of time, 8 years. So give me another 2 years, I think I'll peak and, I'll be, like I said, a little bit more consistent, but I'm happy with the win.
If he carries on in this trajectory, are we talking about one of the greatest players the world's ever seen? Not right now. If he carries on the trajectory he is on, is he catapulting himself into that conversation?
Very, very long way to go. And I understand what you're saying with the trajectory, and probably more than anything with any player in the top 1 to 8, it's how much he wants to continue to. It seems like he wins, he does it, and then sort of gets bored and thinks, let me then try another sport, or let me return back to something else, or and it's just maintaining that love for darts. Like you said about 5 minutes ago, Gerwyn Price has a love for the Premier League. That's never happened. That's a first, but now it's going on and lifting the Premier League. But once he's achieved that, will that motivation still be there to go on and lift the match play and go on and lift the Grand Prix and so on into the rest of the year? It's just keeping that motivation. If Gerwyn Price plays as he can for 10 years, there's going to be no question about it. But I'm still just unsure on it because of his switching.
Yeah.
There's going to be some point this year where someone's going to be booing him or someone's going to react to him. I know it's not happening at the moment, but it's still going to happen at some point. And it's then, are we going to see a sort of a petulant response or don't worry, I'll win on bat. I've already won on once. I'll win on bat and then on bat and side.
Let's be honest. Leicester, as a crowd, hate Gerwyn Price.
Yeah.
They despise him.
Yeah.
And that'll be the interesting one in the Grand Prix. Does that change? Can he turn?
In recent years, before that, in recent years, how the attitude sort of changed at Blackpool with the behaviour there, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get a fantastic reception there. I know he was booed a little bit, but depending on opponent,
I think he'll get a great reception in Blackpool.
Depends who he plays.
There's only one person in that first round draw that he won't get a good reception against.
The alarm.
No. Think about it, boys. Why is he getting booed in the first place?
Gary! Yeah!
Come on now.
I automatically have Darry Anderson as a seed. I wouldn't have even thought about him. He's always a seed.
Come on, since I'd missed an announcement that the women's match play winner suddenly sneaks in 6 days after the tournament started.
Right, we've got whilst we're on Euro Tours, an interesting one from Peter Wright as well.
Yeah, well, obviously, Premier League's not ranked, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a fantastic exhibition. We go around promoting darts all around the world, and it's amazing to be part of it. But I feel like I'm letting my fans down at the Premier League, stuff like that. But it's nice to come here, get some ranking points, obviously, because I was getting close to dropping out to 16 on the Pro Tour. But if I did, I wouldn't bother going in for the qualifiers. So I'll win this because it's got a nice number on it, 100.
Like that.
I played Gezi in the final.
Like last year.
Repeat last year, but it'll be my turn.
Obviously, Jose as well had to lend you a re-pointer before the game as well. A bit of a disaster going on there just minutes before you were due to play.
Yeah, I was just before I back up, practice for the bullseye. On the other ball, not on the bullseye ball, and it was like that. And then all of a sudden, I went like that. My points in the ball are going, oh my God. So it's like, but fair play to him. He didn't have to, I would have just used an odd dart otherwise. But thank you, Joseph.
So, out of just one clip, we've got the Premier League's just a big exhibition. I won't go to the qualifiers.
That's the mentality, which is why I don't think it will ruin his season or career, by the way, because he just doesn't.
Do you believe that?
You're right, he's a Premier League lot fans.
Do you believe that, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's 60 grand guaranteed earnings for a few TV appearances. Yeah, 100%.
But also, it's the fact that if he drops out the 16 on the Pro Tour, not going to bother going to the qualifiers.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. We thought we'd never see Gary Anderson on the Euro Tour again.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I say only. They were talking about this at the weekend. Gary's only 30 grand now off being a seed for the Pro Tour and Euro Tour. Could you imagine?
Jesus.
That's a Euro Tour win or a Pro Tour win in a Euro Tour semi-final or a final.
Are we saying he's back? He's back. He's back.
Oh, it's not on here.
The other one, did he genuinely turn around and say, I'd have just thrown an odd dart?
Yeah.
Not, I'll go and find another set. I'm going to keep 2 of them and I'll just throw something completely different.
It's going to throw an odd one. That was this is a funny clip, and I've had to bleep part of it out so he doesn't get fined, even though it is in the funniest context ever. And the Daily Star did the Daily Star, nicked our quote and made it sound so bad. Let's play it and then.
Of Ashes cricket.
Yeah, you know, I can't wait, mate. I've got one ticket to the first day at Headingley, and I think I probably could get the first day at Lords. I think that's the way the schedule has sort of let me to be. But I think it was a bit pricey. I was like, might as well sit at a bar and watch it or something. But no, I've got the first day at Headingley, mate. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully. Have a word with yourself. Take yourself outside and give yourself a spanking. What's wrong with you? Nah, mate, I can't wait. It's going to be great. Yeah, absolute great.
And like true British hospitality, we've let Steve Smith come over and have a few weeks cricket before the Ashes, like we do.
And Labasheen as well? You idiots.
Yeah, as I say, you let your best batsman come over and have a knock before that.
Mate, I can't wait. It's going to be great. I can't wait.
Damo, it's a pleasure as always,
awesome.
buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Like, how good and how funny is that? But the Star spun it. Australian ace tells Russ Bray to go outside and spank himself. It's just like, oh, come on now.
Anything for a click of the headline, bless him. Damo, you are wrong, mate. You are getting it in this year's Ashes. Baz Ball is going to bring the urn home.
But so such a good to see Damo in that light when we were just talking about cricket and just the way Russ walked past. And I had to bleep his little F-bomb out, bless him. Right, what else have we got? Done that one. We've got Barney talking about a return to the match play.
The Winter Gardens is after the Worlds, you know. I don't know, Winter Gardens all the Premier League is the best, you know. Premier League is awesome, you know. Every single week, these crowds, they are amazing. But to be back in the World Match Play, that will mean a lot to me. And I'm working hard. I'm progress. I believe in myself. And sometimes it's really hard. If you do so well on the practice board, like 140s, 180s, and you come at that stage in the 60s, 59, 66, and thinking, huh? And that messes your head up, you know. You're thinking, huh? What was this? I think I was a bit fortunate that Stephen didn't play his A game, and I was a bit fortunate about that. I gave him a chance, you know. I should have been 6-1, gave him a chance, then 6-2, 6-3. Then you start believing in yourself, and 3 140s and a good finish. So I'm happy with the win.
Barney wants to come back to the Winter Gardens.
I'm disappointed he didn't play the alarm before the interview.
I'm just looking to see Harry Kane's got Decore sent off by the look of it. I haven't seen it in full yet.
Sure.
Right, we've got two more. We'll do Aspinall first, and then we'll do the controversial one.
I agree. I think Michael, he didn't look himself on Thursday. But I agree. I think them two are done and dusted. And then I do think me and Michael will stay there. You know, there's a big couple of weeks coming up. I think I've got Johnny, Michael's got Peter, and then role reversal the week after. So, you know, in my eyes, if me and Michael win both them games, all of a sudden we're 7, 8, 9 points clear. But it's tough, you know. I'd be disappointed if we didn't make the top 4 with how we've performed so far, and there's still a big performance in me. You know, I'm going to win one of these nights by the end of it, so that's 5 points. That puts me on 20. I know I'm going to win a night, so I'll just keep plodding along, keep doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. You know, the lads are fantastic. Great set of lads to be with, and you need that. You're away for 16 weeks. Good set of lads. We have a good laugh, and but you're at all this weekend. Hopefully I can pick one of these up for the first time in my career.
The lads are what, Nathan?
He just stopped himself, didn't he? He just stopped himself.
I like the fact he's put the 5 points on that he's already won.
Yeah, I'm on 20, because I'm going to win.
I'm on 20.
That's Aaron Monk booking one night at Houston Hotel Conference. You know, ever seen it?
Yeah, I'm just going to win. Right, this is the one that will get us all talking.
Otherwise, so he shouldn't have to clear darts on his double for the game.
He's a lucky player.
I'm very lucky. I'm so lucky all the time, mate.
How many nights?
Of course, I know my answer, but it's for the people I hope to answer. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just saying,
it's not about us, it's about the viewers.
We know it's the viewers, but you kind of said it on Dutch TV, and it's been leaked to the English.
Do you know what I said then?
I've been sent the translation that you said it was boring. Is that correct?
No, sometimes it's boring.
Yeah.
Because it's the same all the time.
Yeah.
I can remember when we were a few years ago when we had the Premier League. Let's say the top games, you only had it twice.
Yeah.
So already people was looking forward to certain games.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you got certain games week after week.
Yeah.
It makes it less interesting. But that's not for me to judge.
Yeah.
Because I love to play on stage, and of course I could have done better. Of course, my mistake, but sometimes things could help a little bit.
Just drop the fucking mic on that one. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Look, the fact that the biggest star in world darts is now saying it is an issue. They've all kind of towed the line for the first half and not tried to go in on it. But when Michael does it, it has more consequence than anyone else.
Yes, and he should have done it earlier. We might not be watching this crap for another 8 weeks.
I'm not sure if it would have had an impact in year 2. I think we'd have always had 2 years of
I
this.
think we were always having 2 years. I'm with you there, boys.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the amount of players that would have come out, I don't think we'd have seen a change. What needs to happen now is the knock-on effect. And I think whatever the change it to next year, we'll see a minimum of 2 years. Because any change will have a spike in audiences from a viewer's point initially. And I'm guessing we had that last year and we've had it in previous years. It's then monitoring that to see how it continues into year 2. And I think it needs to change. And I don't want to go off into slagging off the PDC because they've just made a great change to the World Cup. So I'm hoping they hear and see everything what people have said, and that follows on into the Premier League. And we see, from my perspective, I want to see more players. Whatever the format and how it works, and if it's a competition each week or if it's a league, I'm not overly fussed on that at the moment. But for me, we've got too many good players who we're not seeing. And I think we've alluded to the likes of Dirt. Even Joe, before obviously the form is dropped into just 2 of the names, but there's so many more. Luke Humphries, the 2 TV winners, the list sort of goes on. For there only to be 8, I would like to see 12, but a minimum of 10.
Look, the fact they've got 17 weeks to play with, there is a massive scope to be creative here. So many formats have been thrown around online, whether the PDC or the venues or whatever like them or not. There is so much scope here to be creative and do something different and fun and get as many people in as possible and just renew hope in this tournament for a little while.
Look, although... Oh, penalty!
It's a dart show, Philip. Every week I remove him. Every week.
Although, look, I fully agree there, but the only thing is that I worry about is the fact that commercially, this year's Premier League is already doing better than last year's, and that's my worry. That I'm the same as you. But they've sold.
Because it was £7 a pint in Nottingham, and I spoke to Dan about Newcastle, and it was even fucking worse.
But they've sold more tickets as well already, and we've seen more venues sell out. That's my only worry, that commercially, this seems to make sense. Although not for the fan at home and that the players don't like it, but if it's turning out huge money, why would you change it?
But I think the tournament can work. I'm not opposed to a tournament per night, but I still think you need to extend the field. And there's better, more qualified people out there to work out how that would work, but I still think you need to extend the field.
It'll be interesting.
It has to happen.
From there, we're going to go to the first dev tour of the weekend, boys, which was stolen by one man.
Man?
Boy.
Thank you.
Is this person fully developed in one weekend? We didn't go down that road this year. He's so good. The boy is ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
He's over double the closest opponent to him, who has a tour card, by the way.
Yeah, look, that's the... He only just turned 16 this year, and all the questions were, yes, he's done it everywhere else. Yes, yeah, can he do it on the dev tour? And on weekend one, he's pocketed £7,000.
Just got no fear. No fear whatsoever.
Look, I agree. Look, the two below him, Dylan Slevin and Jean Van Veen, we know plenty about those two. But one name that is interesting is ranked number 6. His first PDC darts in 2.5 years. Wessel Nyman returns, and that's a very good return for an opening weekend.
Yeah, we knew his game was in a decent place, didn't we? He come back and won a tournament in the Netherlands not too long ago. These are tough fields to get through, and you only have to look at how far down some of the tour card holders are in this order of merit that will tell you just how difficult this is. Jared Cole, after one weekend, has won 275 quid.
Yeah,
he beat Martin Adams. He beat Martin Adams in a world championship at the Lakeside.
A UK Open semi-finalist. He's currently 33rd.
Yeah. Well, and the other one from Development Tour 1, again, we've just been bigging up Germany. We had a German winner on the Dev Tour. Christopher
It won't be the last. It
No.
will not be the last.
But this is what I mean. This is getting where the sport is now. That it's unreal. And look, Luke Littler, if he carries on this rate, he's going to win his card without going to Q School as well, which is a huge plus.
Mental, just lunacy.
The only potential area of upset is the limelight at someone at such a young age. The UK Open on the qualifying on the first day possible. The now running ahead in the Dev Tour in one weekend and being just over $3,000 in front of anyone else. It's that sort of now. There's a lot of limelight on him, and let's be honest, there was anyway. There was a fair amount, but this only grows. You know, the tweets over the weekend, the praise, all that's there at the moment, and it's when he has that little bit of dip, it's how he recovers and bounces back from that. But at the moment, he's just looking a level above everyone else, including tour card holders.
Yeah, I guess Yellow Klassen is probably the one to take a look at here. The youngest ever world champion. If you go back and talk to him about that time and that era and achieving so much so young, there's a good chance he'll say that it was too much too soon and it came too early for him. And an awful lot of players that have had early success will go down similar sort of routes, especially in a modern era now where there is so much exposure from social media. Results are so easy to get online. You can see an average for just about everything if you look hard enough somewhere. It is about managing expectations and limelight and the pressures that come with that. There are... Leighton Bennett's one that you take a look at was criticised heavily whilst in the limelight at an incredibly young age, doing exhibitions of Phill Taylor at the Tower of London, for the way that he celebrated to win a World Youth Championship. How are we telling kids off for celebrating winning the biggest moment of their life? And we've already seen similar criticisms levelled at Luke in the past. When he beat Richie Elhouse at the UK Open, the response from Richie was as if, what are you doing? But he is still 16. He's only just 16, for Christ's sake. He's only just been eligible, 6-7 weeks ago to go to that UK Open qualifier. Like, there is a lot of time in this young man's career moving forward. And the fact we've been speaking about him so highly for the last couple of years as it feels a little bit like Bo Greaves. People were aware of who Bo Greaves was and what she could potentially be capable of from the age of 11 and 12. Stand out more, perhaps, in the women's game because of the lack of attention and the lack of top-level talent that the women's game and how much further behind the women's game is than the men's. Even still, look, there are steps being taken at the minute to rectify that, but it is still behind there. So when you get such a young talent stand out like Bo does, it stands out massively. It's easy for Luke or for young boys to get lost in that at the minute. You think Justin Van Tegel has just been clawed back into the abyss. He's just another player on the tours at the minute. Leighton Bennett is 47th on the order of merit, £500 this weekend. But I just think Luke's got this extra level, and the longer he keeps performing like this, and actually to a certain extent the other players that are a product of the same place of Luke, the more and more this Dev Tour just becomes an absolute mess. It's just ridiculous.
But do you think right now Dev Tour sits, the one name to avoid is Luke Littler, and we've got Tortard Holders in there, and we've got, which the pressure now, it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts, because you would like to think he would play with no pressure whatsoever. Someone at his young age would just go up and play darts with no concerns whatsoever. But the pressure is going to increase weekend after weekend because of his performances in the past 6 weeks. Has it been since he qualified for the UK Open? The pressure is just going to increase on the young boy's shoulders. It's just how we can manage that, which is so key. And it's the people around him to keep him grounded, because to win 2 of these in one weekend is a ridiculous feat.
There is, I guess, there's a slight difference to it as well. We saw there was a German lad that did similar and then qualified for the Worlds.
Fabian Schmutzler
go through similar. Obviously, not quite got the same history that Luke does at this level, and that is the other thing to consider that Bobic has put in as well. Currently ranked 33rd in the world. How many of these development tours is Josh Rock going to sneak into, if any? The next time it comes around, he is only £3,000 behind Vincent van der Voort.
I was about to say
32nd place.
The likelihood is he won't.
The likelihood is he goes up to 32 because Vincent will be defending at some point as well. Josh is obviously on an absolute free roll still. Does removing a player of Josh's caliber from the Dev Tour allow Luke to go on and do more? You look at the likes of Keane Barry in that list, Bradley Brooks still about. There's just names everywhere.
Were you guys a little bit disappointed that Bo didn't play in the Dev Tour this week? I know that a lot of people wanted her to go and play in it.
Personally, probably not disappointed, because I expected it, because we've not seen it before. As a whole, I'm disappointed she doesn't play in the Dev Tour. So I think it would be, it would improve her game even more, because it would give her that bit more of experience of these PDC tournaments. That, let's be honest, considering she's won as many as she hasn't played a fat lot of them. And if she goes on and plays in the World Youth Championships, I think this will give her that bit more of experience and know-how of the field. But I wouldn't say surprised, just because has missed so many of them previously.
Fair one. So on the WDF, a couple of bits. The interview we did with Neil last week, he dropped a little teaser that he understands the World Masters is going to be scheduled for October. I'm not sure he was meant to say it, but that was an interesting one.
It needs to fit in before December. It's all that matters.
At this point, it's a bit like that YouTube challenges. Throw a dart at a map And so you'll go wherever it lands. We'll do that, and we'll do it with a calendar, one with each hand, and that is when and where the Masters will be.
You're not gaining any fans tonight, Dob, I'm telling you.
The World Masters will be September the 4th in Western-super-Mare.
We got 25 minutes yet, mate. I might upset some more.
Phil, I'm not going to lie. That sounds quite appealing, or more appealing than where it could be.
Next to T4 on the beach.
I'm there. Pass me a camera. I'm on it.
Also, tickets went on sale for the WDF Worlds. Again, Neil brought up a good point in this, and he was fair about it. That he was like, look, it's great, they're on sale, blah, 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 blah. He said, but putting them on sale when people don't know when they're playing is not going to help early sales. He said later on the prices are good, and once people know when they're playing, he think they'll sell well. But it was a case of right now that people aren't going to book tickets because they don't know when their friends and family are playing.
I guess there's two ways to look at this. You can either go drum up lots of interest before you put them on sale, go for a big launch and hope that there's some sort of drive or competition to drum up tickets, or get them on sale as soon as you know about it. Have some transparency about prices, timings, and whatever else. Get hotels and stuff booked as early as you can if you're going to book this early, and have something to build up to. There's no big launch. There's nothing that can go wrong if your tickets are on sale. There's no chance of people missing out or a technical issue the week before, sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, no, look, I think they're reasonably priced this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
So that's
it's just, I guess we're not going to know the field and who's playing until November. If October's the cut-off point, we don't know this. We know where the seeds are, but we don't know where they're positioned.
Yeah.
So until that's done and then a draw's made, which I'm guessing end of October or November, it's just difficult to know when certain players are doing. For example, I know that obviously Reese Coley's taken a lot from around here, but they can't buy their tickets till a month before that game because they don't know when that slot is. So you will have that. But I'm not sure how else you can do it because of how they've set the seedings up. It's not like how the World Seniors done it, where they released it a few months before to say the seeds are playing this day. We don't know where the seeds are going to be positioned until mid-October, I think, was the cut-off point. So they can't even do that then. So it wouldn't be fair to put someone on Tuesday night who their next opponent played Saturday afternoon. I think that's how the first round is, isn't it? Saturday to Tuesday. So I don't think that would be fair to do so. So they've put themselves in a situation where that's the knock-on effect of having your seedings as you have done, instead of just saying 1 to 16 is what 1 to 16 is right now.
Also, on the same kind of theme, we have dates for the World Seniors World Championship for 2024. Was released. Save the date.
It was. Don't ask me when it is because I haven't put it in my calendar already. I am the least organised man in the world. Not me currently scrolling back through the creators chat. On sale from the 1st of May, 10 a.m., 15th to the 18th of February for the World Seniors Darts Championship. Back at the Circus Tavern once again. 4 days likely means same format, 32 players involved.
It's like he's reading it from a sheet.
Of a professional.
Yeah.
More seniors news this week, though. We did have a withdrawal from the Masters in Glen Durrant. He wants that little bit more time to get his game and his form where he thinks it needs to be to compete at seniors level. Pretty fortunate timing, I guess, at that point that Leonard Gates had just picked up the champion of champions. So he's picked up that invitation, 4 more spots as per the qualifying. So we're going to have 1 money list, 1 order of merit, and 2 qualifiers from Reading, not the weekend coming the weekend after. One of those is 99.9% certain already of a space there. It's just how they get there now. That'll be going out pretty soon.
How long, in your opinion, before Howson makes himself an instant pick, regardless of rankings, because of what he's done? Back-to-back TV finals, he has to be close to being an automatic pick now.
I think so. There's two ways at the minute, in that he's building up a fan base, but because of those back-to-back finals, he is so far ahead on the money list, one of the two order of merit ranking lists, etc., that he's pretty much booked his spot in every event between now and the Worlds anyway. And at this point, you can still sneak another big name into each event via the invites and get Richie into the tournament, who is along those lines. Once the World Championship rolls around next year and we start seeing money drop off, Richie's 5 titles to his name in seniors as well. Mike Huntley's just behind him now on 4. Once those start dropping off a little bit, that might be when that comes into the question.
Fairs. Right. Premier League Roadshow moves on, as John McDonald would say, to the wonderful city of Birmingham.
I'm not even sure he'd say wonderful, but carry on.
Mr. Darwood.
Guess he might win this one, given he loves to win in Aldersley and Riesa. If you catch my drift.
MVG, Dobie, Aspinall, Clayton, Dimitri Vandenberg, Gerwyn Price, Peter Wright, Michael Smith. Chat room, come and get involved. So, match 1, Chris Dobie against Michael Van Gerwen. We going to continue to have a board Michael Van Gerwen, or does Michael Van Gerwen turn up?
Dobie.
So you're going for a board Michael Van Gerwen still?
Yes. One more week.
MVG. I don't think he'll play blisteringly, but I think he'll just get by 6-4, somewhere around there, I reckon. Game 2 is huge. Absolute huge for this race for the top 4. Aspinall versus Clayton.
Over to you, Joe.
Asp.
No one believes you. No one believes you.
No, do you know what? There is. If it goes scrappy, I do still worry if Clayton's got the response. Which plays into Aspinall's hands.
Splinters on your backside there, or what?
That's what I'm saying. What do you mean splinters? I just told you Aspen, and I said if it goes scrappy, I don't think Johnny's got that in his game at the minute. He's got that level to blow people away again. But in those tight ones, he's still losing more than he should be, or more than he's winning. And at that point, you have to favour Aspinall, who we keep saying it. I don't just want to put this label on him as a one-trick pony as a dart player, but he relishes that.
I'm going Asp.
I'm going Johnny. 5-all. Johnny, you require 121. 60. Big
11. 162.
11. Bullseye. Point left.
I don't think he will ever reach the same level of significance in the sport, but it is, in my opinion, of watching it, getting close to Bob.
Dimitri Vandenberg, Gerwyn Price. I think this one might be unanimous.
Belgium. Yes.
Are we all saying Gezi?
Yep.
Can we point out one thing at this stage, by the way? And it's not just him. There's a player in the next game as well involved. There has been a downturn in form recently for Dimitri van den Berg and Peter Wright, and neither, at the moment, have been allowed or have attempted to complete a full walk-on. Dimmy has been cut off before he can dance multiple times in this Premier League campaign. And Peter Wright hasn't jumped about on stage for a significant period of time. When you are characters that are so different on and off the hockey and rely on being that character up on stage just to settle you into the environment, do we think there's something there?
Possibly. Or they're just like, hurry up, we've seen this dance 4,000 million times. It hasn't changed. We've got a new hashtag going on. Last game, Wright against Smith. Smith, for me.
Peter Wright.
Looks more as they just come on. What's he been sent off for?
Dart shell, Philip.
It's topical because Rob brings it up in the chat, see?
It doesn't mean it's topical. Sorry, Rob. Peter Wright, Peter Wright, Peter Wright.
Are you going right wing?
I am.
Where are you going, Gob?
Michael.
So, from their chat room, who wins night 10 in Birmingham? And who do they beat in the final?
Gerwyn Price is beaten in the final by Nathan Aspinall.
Bold. I like it. I like your boldness. Is this more out of desperation that you're trying to get all 8 to win?
Nah, because I don't know. I don't think I can predict Peter Wright to win away at any stage in the next 2 years. But
Everton have just equalised in the last minute.
Yes, it's a football show. That's so Spursy, it hurts.
I bet it's a set piece as well. We are.
Michael Keane stood, taking a bit of 20 past goal.
Amazing.
Oh my God. Michael Keane has just picked the ball up from the back. He's 25 yards out and he has absolute top binsed it.
Company all over again.
I take it back. I've just seen it. It is a worlder.
Absolute top binsed it.
That's right. Michael Smith beats Peter Wright, and then Gerwyn Price beats Chris Dobie in the final this week.
I am going for a repeat of the Euro Tour final. Sure. And I am going same result. Gerwyn Price wins again.
Does he know you're cheating on him?
I just think that at the moment, Gerwyn Price is on another level.
Dob. Train friends.
Mark Webster 2 weeks ago. Guess who this
To be fair, it was plane friends as well. Plane and train friends.
Trains and automobiles.
He knows about being tired. Makes me sick.
Right, for that, where's the...
If you put anything to do with WrestleMania up, I'm going to bed 10 minutes early.
No.
You can, but I won't be here. Where's that big game meme? You can if you like, but I won't be here.
Right. We'll open up question time for us. Whilst a week in darts, we always miss something. So, what is it this week?
I think that's it. Oh, Super Series. Justin Hood.
Justin Hood, yeah, played really well, to be fair. Also, Poland has pretty much sold out the World Series event. It's literally there is a handful of tickets left on Friday. That is it. And that's just on the pre-sale.
Hopefully, we'll see Euro Tour expand further than Germany. Germany's great. Germany's great, and it still deserves the more than probably the other countries, because it's earned the right to do so, but not the level it is at the moment. So hopefully, Poland is just the start of it being a Euro Tour. Is probably the best way to put it, instead of a Germany tour.
There's a new country being added next year to the Euro Tour, which is exciting.
But that's what the Euro Tour, sorry, that's what the Euro Tour and the World Series should be. We should be seeing new countries. I know Devon was on talking about it last week, about World Series expansion. The same with the Euro Tour. The Poland news is great news. Hopefully we see even more countries. I know you're saying there's one coming very soon.
No. John, you are disinvited to Reading.
I don't know. Gob, is Ryan Searle safe for the match play?
I don't know. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
But
ever the professionals that we are. Charles in, hello, darling.
How are we doing, Jar? You all right? Hope you are good. Hope you're looking forward to going and watching the 16.4. So crack off instead of Walsall. Walsall's a good start.
Warsaw's always a great. Oh, Warsaw. Sorry.
I'm saying nothing on either of those. I've upset enough.
But yeah, no, look, it's good. The World Series, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to New York again. A lot of hype around that already. The North Americans or players are already promoting it massively, which is good.
I saw a comment earlier where someone said, I think Germany could be the next hotbed of darts. I disagree. I think the North Americans are coming. I think the way that we saw Gates play last week, Jacob Taylor was absolutely superb. We've got David Cameron. We're going to see cross-border in a few weeks' time. They have their own development tour at the minute. That first run in was last week. They're just set up to build up to be the powerhouse that North America can be, given its vast population and whatever else. The only issue is getting events on or having enough people to play in each state, so you're not constantly having to go nationally halfway across the country to play a few games of darts. It's a little bit different me driving to Milton Keynes for a development tour than it is me flying from Boston to Toronto or wherever else that might be.
I still think right now Germany is the hotbed, but I think, as you said, North America is very closely behind it. But it's just because Germany have sort of got that starting point already within the PDC, which allows that, and what we see now on the Dev Tour as well. Schindler getting a lot better. I guess the only surprise right now in Germany is the sort of demise of Matt Top. Other than that, Germany right now is in a great position.
Yeah, but I actually agree that we're going to get, obviously, the week before cross-border, Peter and Anthony are going to come on as guests and talk about cross-border. We're going to do some media like we did last time for it as well. But I just love what North America are doing right now. I really do. Right, to be fair, wrong one. It moved on me. Right, so I've only seen bits on this at social. Was this an April Fool, or did he actually get the trophy? Because I saw the tweet and then I saw someone post a screenshot of a video of him with the trophy.
Was it not the inverse of him giving it back? The car park looked very similar.
I don't know, because I've only seen screenshots while I was in Germany. That's what I was saying. I've only seen the screenshots. So was it an April Fool or did he get the trophy?
I thought it was an April Fool. I haven't actually watched it.
The fact it was Saturday makes me think it would have been April Fool. It'd be a strange day to release it if it's not. It's like reverse psychology on an April Fool's show. There's ways of doing, but there's another. It's a strange way of announcing it if that's the case.
Oh, speaking of April Fools, how good was? I know it was late, but Gezzy's that got the PDC in there right up.
Oh, the injury.
Yeah.
Very clever.
And hooked a few.
Very clever.
It was so funny. The vid was on Sunday. Yeah, saw it, Johnny. It is what it is. It's not great.
Moving on.
Do you think the World Match Play field will ever be expanded? No. There's certain things you don't touch, and the World Match Play is one of them.
Yeah, I think we all agree there's more to do with that weight, but it's not touching that field. It's more to do with, I think, was it last year they introduced the disability darts on Monday to Wednesday?
Yeah.
Before Monday to Thursday, maybe before. Now you've got the women's match play, I think, should increase. I think there's more opportunity to do things in Blackpool, but it's not to amend the current field, current number of players within the field, I should say.
Yeah. With you there. We spoke about this earlier, Tom. Oh, wrong one, things keep moving. Fallon's tweet was the best one for me.
The fact people knew its exact intention as well, which is just to rile up people that had trolled it, was brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's great to see the amount of negativity that we've spoke about before that she gets on social media. It's great to see her reacting in a humorous way to those sort of tweets. Did anyone believe it really? But that was probably the funny part of it.
I also like the fact that PDC retweeted it as well.
Big fan of that. Just
yeah, it was like a couple of figures yeah, it was like trolling the troll shitehousery all in once. It was great. The fact that pretty much everyone got involved with it in a good way.
The people that are commenting underneath going, we're fully aware what this is, but it wouldn't surprise if this was true. Just need to get a life.
Yeah.
Could see this happening. Lol. Could see you being single for life. Lol.
That Big Johnny, Cody will win the titles at SummerSlam after Roman Reigns gets to 1,000 days.
Blow off.
Correct.
I think he nailed it bang on. We played the clip earlier. I thought he got it absolute bang on.
Yeah. Also, before we do go, you know, we joke every week, this is a darts show.
Yeah.
And we do a week in darts, question time or whatever else. If we manage our time better, moving forward, should we put a poll out on the Monday and discuss one other topic from the wider world of sport for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
I'm not.
And then we don't have to go and it's a dart show. We can have a little segment towards the back end where we go, right, for 5 minutes this week, we're going to discuss the Ashes or the Snooker World Championship starting very, very soon, or whatever's going on in the football at the time or whatever else. The F1's back.
Yeah,
What do we think?
I'm up for that.
Yeah, as long as we all agree that wrestling isn't a sport and it's never on the topic, then
Correct. Oh yeah, 100%. Majority rules.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Sweet. How about a real sport like ice hockey? I'm all over hockey, Bill. Bruins on to break the season record.
To be fair, though, look, whilst we are talking about sport in general and powerhouses in sport, I know we're going off topic a little bit, but the WWE and UFC collab stroke buy is huge for the sports entertainment market. Forget whether you like wrestling or whether you like UFC. That is a big, big play in the market.
Now we need is DAZN to offer them a shed load of cash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge play. But plenty coming your way as always. We've got some interviews backed up to go out this week as well, which will be decent. Good Friday. So Euro Tour is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We have taken the decision that we are still going to do the live lounge on Monday, regardless of the Euro Tour, and we'll just keep you up to date with results during the day or during the show.
We have taken a decision. You have just informed us of that.
Yeah, correct. Hey, rule number one still exists in this organisation as well.
Rule number one was we don't clash with any events that are on, apart from when we clash with events that are on.
And rule number two.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, the breaking news for you is also the breaking news for me and Jack tonight. and to be honest, the breaking news for Phill, because he had no idea what was coming out his mouth for that whole sentence till he agreed that was the case.
Yeah. Just going to wing it, let's not lie. But absolute pleasure as always to have you all on board with the live lounge. Like we said, we are going to try and add stuff and make it a little bit more interactive as well as we go along. I like that idea as well. That's good. Again, don't be afraid to tweet us or drop something in the comments as in what you guys want from the live lounge as well.
Yeah, and who you would like on here as well, as we've now got a desk slot. Who you would like to join us on a Monday evening.
To be fair, I'm amazed that we're in April and we're still at 100%.
We've been close a couple of times already, I can't lie. Cannot lie.
Yeah, a couple of players have saved our bacon, we'll say.
Yeah.
Tonight's being one of them.
Last week's as well.
I agree, James. Merchandise, 100%. Then we can be proper YouTubers. Bring on an Irish player for a chat. Do we need a translator as well?
We've had the Joker on. Look, we'll a friend of the show, so we'll get him on again. But we'll try and get another Irish player as well.
Gurney will fill up the entire 2-hour show.
Get Keane Barry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work. Right, we are going to sign out. Remember, the Super Series returns tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. But other than that, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you all on board. I've been Phill Bars. Jack Garwood and Lee Boyce. We have been Online Darts. This has been the Live Lounge, and we'll see you all next week. It's been a pleasure, guys. Signing off.